Hello, Carl here with today's Sustainability Theory News. We're at the Global Forum on Agricultural Research for our lead story about a small-scale poultry feather plucking machine from an innovative man in Nigeria. There is a video that shows the test run here. Let's see if we can get a picture of the screenshot of it running. As you can see, this is the chicken. These are some rubber tines, and this center disc spins, moving the chicken to the outward edge through momentum, and it just runs past these tines and the feathers just pluck off. He soaks it in warm water beforehand, and there's a picture down here that shows the whole system. There's a gas motor, goes to a gearing system, spins the plate, and spins the chicken past these teeth or tines. Next story. Over at City Farmer News, there's a farmland mapping project at UC Merced, and I'll show you this. This map shows the potential for people to be fed locally in America. There are, of course, some major population centers where not all people could be fed with food grown 100 miles away, but most of the country, that could work. Over at Civil Eats, there is a story about solving slavery in seafood. Well, not exactly. There is a new law on the books, but it still doesn't allow for greater transparency in the seafood market. As many of you may have heard, over in Thailand especially, there is a lot of forced labor, even kidnapping into forced labor to work on these ships, farming shrimp and other seafood. Over at Big Picture Agriculture, food fraud infographic. You may have heard recently about the cellulose in Parmesan cheese. There's also problems with ice cream, honey, olive oil, all sorts of fish as well. And this just goes over a little bit of the summary of the food fraud problem worldwide. Over at Science Daily, ultra-processed foods make up more than half of all calories in the U.S. diet. We've heard a lot about this in the last couple of days, but here's the link to the actual scientific study that proves it down here at the bottom. Over at the Global Forum on Agricultural Research, again, agricultural technology dissemination. This is a story really about an idea about creating these agricultural information dissemination centers, or picking a village that is very reliant on agricultural production and setting up workshops, bringing in experts, and making it a hub for information dissemination. It is the way we're going to start building grassroots sustainability from the bottom up. We got to get the information and the tools into the hands of the people. Over at Sustainable Brands, food waste roadmap shows cutting U.S. waste 20% could generate $100 billion in cross-sector value. Now they're talking about an $18 billion investment that could reap rewards of $100 billion and 15,000 jobs. Of course, these are just projections, and we don't know what the actual cost and benefits would be, but we do know that reducing food waste in America, and indeed the world, will help feed more people, will help create a more efficient food system, which will lower prices and eventually get into the hands of the hungry people around the world. Over at YouTube, there's a video on Jeff Lawton's chicken tractor on steroids. This is just a quick summary video. For the full video, you'll want to subscribe to Jeff Lawton's website, but it goes over the basics of how a system works. It's a movable chicken tractor, sort of like Joel Salatin's Polyface Farms, except he does not supplement with grain. He feeds them food scraps, maybe from a restaurant or grocery stores or whatnot, but it helps get all the food the chickens need, and then they break it down into usable compost, and he just moves this down a little bit every day. Over at the Natural Building blog is a quick story on Quigley Holes, which are structures of the native people of British Columbia, Canada. If you're looking for a good structure to build for a root cellar or just some place to stay cool in the summertime, the Quigley Holes might be a good shot for you. Over at the Permaculture Research Institute, 5 simple ideas for transitioning into a permaculture garden. Of course, it talks about the importance of soil health, the shift from annuals to perennials, multiple ways of mulching, and of course mulching will help retain moisture in the soil and build healthier topsoil through nutrient supplementation as well as biomass. The efficient use of space, it doesn't come in rows. It talks about using the contours of the land and vertical gardening so you create multiple stories of food production, and of course a waste-free food production cycle by feeding your scraps to pigs, chickens, or other animals. Over at the National Sustainable Agricultural Coalition, new funding available for local and regional markets. They're talking about $26 million in grant funding to support local and regional food systems. Is it as much as grain farmers get in their supplementation? No, it's not. But it's a start, and we need to start somewhere if we're going to start building stronger local food systems. Last story over here at Science Daily, 57 different pesticides found in poisoned honeybees. This is using a new type of chromography, which is a mass spectrometry using light to detect chemicals or other compounds in a substance. They use the same method for testing food, and they've discovered that honeybees are under a greater threat than they realized from multiple pesticides. Well, that's it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Have a good one.